I'm continuing my summer deep dive into the 2025 NFL draft class, and today we're going to be looking at linebackers. I'm going to give you my top 10 in this video, but stick around until the end because I'm going to go over some of the guys who just missed the list. But without further ado, let's get into this sucker. With number 10, Jay Higgins out of Iowa, coming in at 6'2", 233 pounds, former 3-star from the 2020 class, became a full-time starter actually just this past season, and he made one hell of a first impression, I'll say that. The man had over 170 tackles this past year. He is a tackling machine. He is always at the right spot at the right time, especially versus the run, man. This guy has got great gap discipline, and he does a good job working off blocks, getting his mitts onto ball carries. Only had an 8% missed tackle rate this past season. He's super disciplined. Like, he hardly ever feels out of position. He's just consistently choosing the right gaps to defend. He looks very comfortable sitting in zone. He does a good job of passing off his assignments in zone, and he won't really fall for misdirection or falling for the quarterback's eyes. He's staring down something. Dude plays with a big motor, man. He plays to and through the whistle. I just love that, really, about any prospect. However, he is a bit of a middling athlete. He is, man. He isn't very explosive. His top-end speed isn't threatening. He is someone that kind of has to be in the right spot at the right time. He's very much a minimal gain type of guy, though he had some splash plays last year. He had 3 pass breakups and an interception. But in the NFL, I don't think that's going to fly. I think he's going to be very much a minimal gain, someone who's going to allow a completion rate of like 70, 80%, but it's going to be like these dink and dimes, like talking like 4-6 yard gains and such. Also the play strength, like he's got room to put more mass on the frame. Like he could be a little bit light in the pants when blockers get to the second level. I would like to see him do a better job of anchoring down. I think also part of the problem is leverage with him, but end of the day, man, I got a 4th round grade on him. I think he will be 23 at the start of his rookie season in the NFL, but I liked what I saw. But at number 9, I got Smael Mondon Jr. out of Georgia, coming in at 6'3", 230 pounds, former 5-star recruit from the 2021 class. The dude played linebacker, quarterback, running back, and wide receiver back in high school. He was initially going to play running back at Colorado before he committed to Georgia to play linebacker. So that's kind of nuts, kind of wild. But made first team all SEC last year. The dude is long. The dude is fast. Let me ask you, does that remind you of anyone? You might know, but the dude's stupid explosive. Flies all over the field. He's got that sideline to sideline speeds. Very, very fluid mover. Very oily, greasy hips. He can turn and run with tight ends and running backs. He's got the length and athleticism just to be a nightmare in coverage. However, I will say not a lot of splash plays to his name yet, so I do want to see the splash plays go up because he's got that type of ability. Also, the dude plays with a lot of dog in him. He just plays with that physicality. He was playing below 230 last year, like for sure he was, but that didn't change up how aggressive he was, man. He's got a physical style. He wants to rip the heads off of ball carriers, and you know what? He's actually got a very, very impressive missed tackle rate with that type of style at only about 7%. So that's pretty darn solid. On top of that, the dude does have some good pass rush capabilities. He had 22 pressures and 4 sacks last season. That was only on 92 pass rushing snaps. Very quick step. Just a nightmare off the edge or just shooting gaps. Plays with a lot of energy. However, the play strength needs to get better. He's up to 230 now. Potentially. These are Georgia's numbers, so we'll see. So I'm kind of curious if you put on a little bit more muscle. I'd like to see him be able to hold up and anchor a little bit better. Also, he's got a little bit of problems when it comes to disengaging and pursuit. He has the length and the strength to disengage. Like, the upper body strength is pretty solid, but he needs to do a better job of using those traits to like free him from contact. And even if he does get free, doesn't necessarily take the proper angles or the best angles when trying to close on ball carriers. So I do hope that gets better. I think I had around a 4th round grade on him last year. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stick with that this year. Real quick, I got to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. I absolutely love Underdog Fantasy because I love football. And now that the football season is far and away, it doesn't mean my betting season has to be, because they do all kinds of sports, whether it's baseball, basketball, esports even. They got you covered, whether that's weekly best ball or my favorite, higher lower on player props. So if you sign up at Underdog Fantasy using promo code BROSHMO, then they will give you a first time deposit up to $250. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. So if you're going to go and bet with Underdog Fantasy, use promo code BROSHMO, take advantage of this offer, but please bet responsibly and bet within your means. At number 8, I got Jamon Dumas-Johnson out of Kentucky, formerly of Georgia. He was actually Mondon's teammate. Coming in at 6'1", 245 pounds. He's a former 4-star recruit out of the 2021 recruiting class, excuse me. And I kind of thought last year was going to be a breakout year for him. He kind of already had a mini breakout in 2022. He was a second team all SEC, but I thought this would be like, oh, this is a guy that's going to be like potentially could be a first round linebacker or maybe a top 50. And it just didn't come to fruition last year. The play just wasn't on that level. On top of that, he missed 4 games with a forearm injury. He ends up transferring, so he gets a bit of a fresh start at Kentucky. But the dude is a heat-seeking missile. He's got a lot of speed when coming downhill or going to the sideline. He's shown a really good nose for the football. Also, he was the leader of the defense last year. He was that green dot guy. He was setting everyone up pre-snap. So you'll love to see that. The physicality, who would have thought at 245? The dude's a bit of a thumper. He wants to tear your head off. He's got the build for it. He's able to block shed pretty well as well. Also, clicks and closes really well. He could really generate some power with his bull rush. He displays good closing speed as a pass rusher. And he also brings that same energy underneath when it comes to playing in coverage. He regularly made plays over the middle of the field and in the flats on pass catchers. However, I do think the range is a bit limited when it comes to turning and running with defenders. So I don't know if he's really going to be someone that can play a lot of man coverage. I don't think he'll be able to turn with running backs or tight ends at the NFL level. I don't know. We'll see how he tests out, but I just think the hips are a little clunky, a little stiff. Someone that also doesn't trust his eyes a ton in zone coverage. I felt like he should have had more splash plays than he has the last 2 years. But right now he's just kind of too content with being a minimal gain guy. So it kind of is what it is. On top of that, talked about the physicality. He's got an aggressive nature when it comes to being a finisher. And unfortunately, that has led to some inconsistencies when it comes to his missed tackle rate. It was 16.3% last year. Gets too aggressive, occasionally slips off of tackles. Also, might be a red flag here. Again, this is the only thing from his past, but we all recall the Jalen Carter incident with the street racing that unfortunately led to the death of his teammates, some of the staffers there. Well, he wasn't involved in that, but 5 days later, he was pulled over for reckless driving and drunk driving. So it's just not a good look. It's something worth just monitoring. Kind of hoping it's just a dumb kid doing something stupid, never do it again. But never know. But something you definitely got to note. You got to take into consideration here. At number 7, I got Jack Kiser out of Notre Dame, coming in 6'2", 232 pounds. Now we're talking about the guys that I got day 2 grades on. Now, Kiser hasn't been a regular starter for Notre Dame, but he's been heavily used in the rotation there. We could go back to 2021, played in 13 games, started 8. 2022, played in 13 games, started 6. 2023, Played in 13 games, started 3. He was Notre Dame Special Teams Player of the Year, which that's already a big plus. Big plus. Now he is like without a shadow of the doubt the starter. This dude's a star, so let's see what he can do. Let's see this guy cook. He's got great athleticism. He's very fluid out in space. When he drops into coverage, he offers some good like short area bursts underneath. And he is just really good out in space, just uses that athleticism to attack the run from the backside or to like drop into coverage, hit his landmarks and whatnot. The tackling technique is pretty darn good too, only a 5.1 missed tackle rate this past season. He's pretty stout and he's able to get under ball carriers' pads to make that tackle. Love the motor, love the grit. Like he has plenty of special teams experience to his name. He's constantly running on hot. His instincts in coverage give him a path to early playing time, I think, in the NFL. However, the block shedding needs to get better. Lacks that wingspan. So he kind of has a tough time trying to stack and shed blockers and just disengage in general. On top of that, his pursuit angles. Angles aren't exactly ideal. There are some cases where he overruns plays. I'm kind of questioning, man, is he anything more than a dime backer in the NFL? That question kind of gets answered. In terms of athleticism and just effort, this is a guy I'd take a shot at the back end of day 2, like straight up. But let's see how it all goes this season. At number 6, I got Jason Henderson out of Old Dominion, coming in at 6'1", 227 pounds, former 3-star recruit from the 2021 class. He played running back and linebacker in high school, and he also placed 5th in the Pennsylvania State Wrestling Championship at 195 pounds. But the dude was back in like 2022 was kind of the breakout year for him. He was a 3rd-team All-American, led the country in tackles, broke Old Dominion and the Sun Belt's record for tackles in a season. Last season, he was a 2nd-team All-American, only missed a game, and it was the bowl game. Missed it with a knee injury. Unlike his teammate Wayne Matthews decided to transfer to Michigan State, so he decided to go play in a Power 5 school. Henderson decided to stay put, man, which kind of bummed me out, but is what it is. I like this cat a lot. The dude is a tackling machine, if you couldn't tell from his 132 tackles. He packs a decent amount of power in his frame, and he plays with violent hands, takes good angles, shows good closing speed. His missed tackle rate in 2022 was 8.4%. Last year, it was 9%. The dude's just a good tackler. Top of that, the athleticism's pretty darn good too. He's very explosive, shows that sideline to sideline type of speed, moves exceptionally well, and displays, again, that good pursuit, good closing speed. His feet can get tied up when he goes to change direction, but he has the athletic ability to just make up for it. As a pass rusher, he's actually been a pretty solid blitzer, man. Like, he does a good job of timing his blitzes. He takes contact really well. Like, he's able to play through contact. Just has strong hands, light feet. Last year, 24 pressures and 6 sacks on 108 pass rushing snaps. However, the play strength does need to get a little bit better. I'd like to see a little bit more sand in the pants and more of a reliable anchor. This dude is very much more of a penetrator than an actual someone that can maybe like seal off the edge or hold a block. Coverage right now is a little bit limited just because right now schematically he's only asked to be a spot dropper, whether that's like, hey, go kick out to the flats, or hey, play this hook zone. It's been nothing too crazy. So the splash plays just haven't been there for him. But in terms of athleticism, watch out. I like me some Jason Henderson. At number 5, I got Jaishawn Barham out of Michigan, almost said Maryland. Coming in at 6'3", 248 pounds, former 4-star recruit out of the 2022 class, and did go to Maryland, where he was an instant starter. Dude started all 12 games his freshman season in 2022. Started 11 games last year, did miss 2 games with an undisclosed injury. But this dude has been under the learning tree of Navarro Bowman. Like, Bowman was a defensive assistant there in Maryland. Now he's over there with Jim Harbaugh in Los Angeles as a linebackers coach. So I don't know why, I don't know if that's why Barham decided, hey, I'm going to transfer. And I'm going to transfer to Michigan. I'm going to transfer to where, just like Bowman, I'm going to follow Jim Harbaugh, kind of, sort of. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But dude has an impressive frame, man. Like, immediately he sticks out like a sore thumb. Long arms. And he's twitchy. Like, he absorbs contact pretty well. And he can, like, bolt around, darts around tight spots to get to the ball carrier. Like, plays with quick feet, good flexibility. There's some bend there's legit bend in his game. Might as well bring up the pass rush and upside of him. 41 pressures, 7 sacks on 167 pass rushing snaps. That's from 2022 to 2023. That's hella good. I have a feeling that Michigan might have him do the same thing. A lot of people probably think he's going to go in and play that Junior Colson role, which he totally can. I think he might end up playing like more edge than he does linebacker just because I think he can do it. The closing speed's really good, man. Once he locks on a target, like, his straight line speed is just yowie wowie. Like, he comes in hot and he will throw reckless abandonment, like throw caution to the wind. He's going to be throwing his body at you. He wants to hit you with bad intentions. Very good out in space, very fluid mover, does an effective job of reading the quarterback. He passes off his assignments really well, uses that length to clog passing lanes. And I would like to see a little bit more splash plays in coverage, but more importantly, I think you see the tools are there. However, some of the cons with him, the hand usage could definitely be better. Doesn't make the best use of his length, especially when he gets stuck in engagement. He'd rather just bury the shoulder into blockers than rather using his hands to keep them off them. Like, okay. His anchor, I think he could do a better job of just dropping his anchor and just playing with sand in his pants. That's suddenly become one of my favorite things to say, but it's true. There are times where he just gets washed out of the run game, and it's like, man, I know you're stronger than that. His tackling technique, it's not like it's bad. He's at 12.5% missed tackle rate, or at least that's what it was last season. But you did see this guy's like a dive and drag type spectacular. This is a dude that wants to lower the boom, and that aggressive style just doesn't lend itself well in the NFL. Like, those are going to turn into a lot more missed tackles. So I would like to see that clean up a little bit with him. At number 4, and with the second round grade, I got Deontae Lawson out of Alabama, coming in at 6'2", 230 pounds, former 5-star recruit out of the 2021 class. Redshirted his freshman season in 2022. He mainly played special teams. And then last year, he started 11 games, did miss 3 because of an ankle injury. But let me tell you, man, this dude's long and athletic. Like, this dude he feels so much bigger than that 6'2", 230. Like, he looks so much bigger than that. He really, really does. He's got room to add on that frame, but he's just able to discourage the quarterback from throwing his way, whether it's around the seams or in the middle of the field. He's a smooth mover too, and there are cases where the closing speed's disgusting. It's scary. Like, some of his late delayed blitzes in the Michigan game were like, whoa. And he's out there. This is the coolest thing. He's out there directing traffic like, hey, I'm about to blitz. My dude, go pick up this guy. Come pick up this guy. Like, his coverage recognition, way better than I expected it to be for an Alabama guy. I don't know why. I just went in with very low expectations. But he had quickly established himself as the leader of that defense. Like, he gets that front 7 into the right spots pre-snap, and then he's directing them to passing threats while staying in position and keeping his assignment. Like, it really wowed me. The pass rush upside is there. He's displayed good bend, good suddenness, plays with violent hands, shows good hand counters, knows when to time his delayed blitz, just knows how to hit home. 21 pressures, 4 sacks, did that only on 71 pass rushing snaps. We'll say the block shedding could be a little bit better. I think he needs to add a little bit more play strength, maybe a little bit more upper body strength to be able to disengage from blockers once he gets engaged. The pursuit angles could be a little bit better. Didn't always take the proper ankles to get to ball carriers. Sometimes just gets stuck in traffic. Just needs to do a better job of navigating through the trash to get to ball carriers. Top of that, transition and coverage. I think his hips might be a little bit stiff because his lower body just can't keep up with his upper body. There were a few times where he just kind of slipped when turning upfield along the sideline on some wheel routes from runbacks and such. But ooh-wee, man, this guy was a fringe top 50 prospect for me. And I think if he plays a full season this year, I think it's just going to get better, man. I truly, truly do. At number 3, I got Danny Stutsman out of Oklahoma, coming in at 6'4", 241 pounds, former 4-star recruit out of the 2021 class, played linebacker and receiver in high school. His father played football and his mother played basketball, both at Baylor. His sister played softball at Florida State, won a national championship in 2018. Let's go. Don't know if Oklahoma's going to do that next year. I have my doubts, but hey. But this cat was a starter became a starter in 2023, though did play a ton in 2022. He actually led the Big 12 in tackles, but last year started 12 games and missed a game with an ankle injury, made first team all Big 12. I feel like he's a very explosive athlete. Is a dude that can hit, run, and cover. He plays with a big motor. He's got that sideline to sideline speed. The moment he hits that trigger on a play, he shows great acceleration and just closing speed. Also a big hitter. He hits with reckless abandon and has a decent missed tackle rate in doing so. For that type of style, 9% missed tackle rate ain't half bad. Ain't half bad for that style and the volume that he had. Pass coverage, man. The dude sees the field really well in front of him, and he just breaks well underneath. I saw some splash plays in coverage in 2022. Even though the numbers in terms of interceptions, pass deflections weren't there in 2023, he just has a good nose for the football and knows how to arrive at those pass catchers. We'll say he's definitely got more room to put weight on his frame. I think he just kind of struggles with engagement sometimes. He's a capable blitzer, but not someone who's going to be able to free himself up, free himself from blockers. Feels like, at least as a blitzer, he's got to be schemed up. But I think if he could add a little bit more upper body mass, I think that would go a long way. Also, is just overall his ability to take on tackles. He's got a tough time stacking and shedding. He's more of a, I'm not going to be able to really break engagement here, so I'm just going to kind of reach and grab, and hopefully I can get a hand of something. The anchor, it's just not ideal right now. So kind of those are my big hiccups. I think this is a guy that's still developing. He won't be 22 he'll be 22 at the beginning of his rookie year in the NFL. So a guy's still developing his body. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. But at 241, kind of hoping for a little bit more power in his game. But absolutely love Stutsman. Did I mention also team captain? Oh yeah. At number 2, I got Barrett Carter out of Clemson, coming in at 6'1", 230 pounds. He was very close to Stutsman, but I'm going to lean on the ceiling here of Carter a little bit. I'm going to lean on the ceiling. Dude's a former 5-star recruit from the 2021 class, and immediately at Clemson, he was splitting time in the box, in the slot. In 2022, he played 13 games where he ended up being a first-team all ACC, but he was kind of playing like an overhang safety role. And then in 2023, he played more of a traditional linebacker. And that's where you kind of saw some of the wrinkles in his game. Like his tackling technique is not great. 20.5 his tackle rate last season. Like, I get it. He's like a little undersized. At least he was last year. And he was more of that dive and drag type of tackler. It's not something that's gonna have you win consistently as a finisher. It's just not. His run defense currently is a work in progress. It just is, man. He gets upfield quickly, but sometimes he just loses the ball in traffic. More times than not, he's pretty passive and will just kind of let the ball carrier come to him. The hand usage could definitely be better, especially with his pass rush upside, because the dude is an incredible athlete, like ridiculous, like nutty explosiveness, quick trigger, scary closing speed. Over the last 2 years, 45 pressures and 9 sacks on 185 pass rushing snaps. So there is a little bit of that in him, but I wish his hands were a little bit more active, not just as a blitzer, but in overall engagement. The speed and coverage is ridiculous, man. This was a dude that he was capable of playing in the slot for Clemson. Last year played more of a traditional role, but still, like, he showed off that versatility. He's got that athletic ability. His eyes in zone are pretty darn good too. Like his route recognition, just to be able to pattern match, like it's more advanced than I thought it would be. Then again, he is now going to be a senior, a fourth year player, so maybe it shouldn't be that surprising. Also, block shedding. Like I said, the hands kind of struggle with disengagement, but he plays pretty strong at the point of attack. Like he's got an effective long arm stab that he uses to just kind of give him a little room to be able to bend the edge. So, like, okay, it's there. I would just like to see a little bit better use of it. But again, him and Stutsman, very close, top 50 prospects for me. I'm just going to go ahead and lean with Barrett Carter here. And then at number 1, I got Harold Perkins Jr. out of LSU, coming in at 6'1", 220 pounds. Shouldn't really surprise anyone here that he is number 1. Question is, man, is he going to be an off-ball linebacker, or will he put on the weight? I don't think he's put on the weight this year, but this is a guy that maybe puts on the weight while he's in the NFL, because he's young as hell. He'll be 21 at the beginning of his rookie year. But right now, my early comp, or more of a blurb that I wrote about him was, I wrote that Harold Perkins feels like Steve Rogers before he entered the pod and became Micah Parsons. So I love the reference. Because like he is just sitting about 20 pounds lighter than Micah Parsons. But the dude's a wonderful athlete. But I always thought Micah Parsons played with a little bit of power. And the play straight's kind of a negative here when it comes to Perkins, but that shouldn't be surprising at his size. The dude's young enough to add muscle, but right now he just doesn't anchor well against the run and isn't that sturdy on the edge. His missed tackle rate wasn't great, 18.8%. Like sometimes he just doesn't have that oomph, as a finisher. This is a guy that's still learning linebacker. He was, for the most part, playing as an off-ball linebacker last year, though he did have a decent amount of pass rushing snaps. I think he was at about 120 something last year, but still is a cat that's going to be fooled by misdirection and motion. He's been a little bit hesitant to attack gaps because of that, and it just kind of allows blockers to get that second level to take him on. And of course, length and size, man, that's kind of the thing. Like, whether he's a linebacker or an edge player, he doesn't have ideal length or size for either of those positions. So then you might be saying, why do you have him as a first-round rated player? Because the dude's an elite athlete. Like, former 5-star recruit out of the 2022 class, was a first-team All-SEC, a freshman All-American, last year. He was a second team all SEC. The dude's ridiculous in terms of his athleticism. His win rate is nutty. It's bonkers. He plays with quick feet. He transitions well both up and downfield, explodes downfield or off the line of scrimmage. He's twitched up. He makes it hard for blockers to really just put a hand on him. Like, his pass rush ability is legitimately nuts. Like, he's got a very explosive first step, a natural bend, good closing speed. This just gives him ability to win quickly out of the edge, and he just makes him one of the most dangerous players on stunts. Truly does. And he's pretty technically sound. He truly, truly is. Like, I brought up, like, oh, the play straight's not where he wanted to be. Oh, the size shows up. The missed tackle rate. Listen, it's honestly a lot of his things you could point to. Oh, he needs to bulk up a little bit. It's not like something wrong with his technique. At least that's how I feel. That's just where I'm at. Like, I think he does a good job protecting his strike zone against blockers. He rushes with a pass rush game plan, which is great. He always takes proper angles to get to ball carriers. The dude's got the versatility too, man. The size might not be ideal, but he is shown to have success both off ball and at edge. Like, right now, man, I'm telling you, this is a cat to keep an eye on. He truly is. He has the chance to be special. I'm very intrigued in what we will see next year from him. And I don't know. You stick at 220. I don't know if I could have you listed among the edge. I just don't. But I mean, Micah Parsons, granted, Micah Parsons was much bigger, but Parsons kind of went through that transition his rookie year where he was playing both off ball and as a blitzer. So it's going to be interesting to watch. But let's talk about some of these guys who just missed the list. As my number 11 was Karene Reed out of Utah. He is going to be an older prospect. This is a guy that did a mission trip. He actually comes from the 2018 class. But dude's twitched up, smooth mover, long athlete, but he is a little bit over aggressive. The lateral ability is okay, but yeah, he just kind of missed the cut here. I know some people in the comment section will be asking about was it Tyreme Powell out of Rutgers? So, like, hey, if you ask about it in the comment section, I'm just going to say, hey, watch the end of the video. But I'm not going to lie to y'all. I don't think he's too far off from his teammate, Mohamed Toure. With Powell, keep in mind, Powell was coming off a hand injury last year. And then, unfortunately, tore his Achilles in spring camp. So I don't know if he's going to be able to play this year. Sounds like Rutgers is confident he's going to make it back at some point this season. But this is also a guy that had 2 surgeries for his neck in high school, so the injury concerns are there. But, man, this dude plays so eager and so aggressive. Like, he bit on a lot of play actions and just kind of gave up space behind him in coverage. I mean, there was a lot to like. I get it. Big motor, pretty explosive, especially at that size, 6'5", 240. But I don't know, man. I came away like, I don't think the play straight's all that great. I think there were times where he just kind of like bit on misdirection and motion. And on fact, the NFL's leaning hard into that, so that's not a great sign. So I don't know, I'm not going to be in love with him as some other people are. Again, it didn't really help that he's coming off the Achilles injury either, and him being explosive is one of his better traits. With Toure, his teammate, he came out of the 2019 class, but I really like the closing speed. I like his ability to absorb contact. I think he played at some point, he was an edge rusher in his career before playing. Like, he plays off ball linebacker, but also they'll line him up like wide 9 and have him just like go have at it. The coverage I don't know. Maybe it's just a coverage thing there at Rutgers, but he gets a little antsy in coverage. And also the play strength. Like, I feel like when he's going towards like a ball carrier, when he's going to get after it, he doesn't, like, he absorbs contact so well. It's like he sees the mission, he sees the goal. But if he has like really no clue where the ball is, then he gets out muscled, man. He can get bullied sometimes. Like, he'll bail himself out with quick feet, but it's not everything's cotton candy and gumballs. There's Nick Jackson from Iowa. He was formerly of Virginia. I like him. He's gonna be an older prospect, 24 by the time his NFL by the time of the beginning of his rookie year. He's a twitchy player, but the size, the play strength kind of limits where you want to take him. There's Ben Bywater out of BYU, another guy that's originally from the 2017 class, so he's probably like 24, 25. And he's coming off an injury. Like, shoulder injuries have kind of been a big thing in his past, but he's a smooth athlete, and he's shown like positional versatility. There were times where he took snaps on the outside at corner. Kind of wild. Does a good job finding the football, but unfortunately, yeah, them shoulder injuries, him being an older prospect, I don't know how much you want to can buy into that. And then there's Justin Jacobs out of Oregon. I'm rooting for this guy. I liked him at Iowa. I thought he really showed a lot in 2020 in the shortened season. Was it 2020? I think it was actually 2021. And then in 2022, he started dealing with injury. 2023, he was still kind of recuperating from that injury, and this is when he transferred from Iowa to Oregon. So I'm hoping this year he's a starter, and he could put his name on the map. However, his injury was a soft tissue one, so that could be a little like, whoa, watch out. I will say I haven't checked out the Oklahoma State guys yet. I was like looking at their numbers. I was like, man, it feels like, I look at their size and I'm like, okay, they're linebackers. I look at their numbers and I'm like, these guys are pass rushers. What the hell? So I haven't watched them yet. I plan on it. So be patient with me, but that's it for the video. If you want to see some of my other summer scouting, I'll leave a video down there. You can also check out my deep dives where I go through each and every NFL team and project how they'll do in 2024. But as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.